So what I'd like to show you is a couple of cool little tricks that we can do in After Effects so that you got some more tools in your toolbox to make awesome things happen. I'm sharing my screen. We're going to go to what else? After Effects. I've got a composition here, just plain. I've got a plain background. By the way, I've had a bunch of people ask me, how do I change my background color? Lives right here under, if I grab my composition, lives right here under composition settings. There it is right there at the very bottom of that menu. In here, what I've got is just this ellipse drawn. If you find yourself saying, I want to draw the ellipse, there's the ellipse tool right there, lives under the rectangle and all those other little happy people. And if I want to draw from the center, I hold down Command and drag it out like that. There. I've got, as you can see, a stroke color over here on the right-hand side. You can see the stroke color, the width, the kind of stroke that it is. A lot of these things are familiar from Illustrator, so hopefully you go, oh yeah, I know what that looks like. But what I want to do to this is make it look like it's a ripply, like a pond surface or something like that. So we're going to come over here to the contents window. In the bottom of the timeline, you'll notice if your shape layer is closed up, you won't see it. So open up your shape layer, and then contents right there. There's a little button that says Add. And what that does is add these kind of little fancy effects that you can do. So we're going to do wiggle paths. You'll notice already it starts to look like it's got some wibbly wobblies to it. We're going to open up wiggle paths and control a bunch of things. Now, this one, because I want it to be fairly smooth, I'm going to change my corner points to smooth points. I'm going to give it a level of detail. I'm just going to let me play that right now. And you see right there, you can kind of see how that's just softly happening. I can turn up the wiggles per second, maybe, make it a little bit faster. I don't know if I want too much there. And then I've also got level of detail, size of the wibbles, like that, and how many there are relative to that. So I've got a lot of control over this thing. Let me just stop my animation right there. What I'd like to do now is grab this effect, this shape layer. I'm going to transform this. The reason I'm showing you all this stuff is because it's kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is drop that to 0. Opacity, come back up here, bring my opacity up to 100%, and then come back here and take my opacity from 100 back down to 0, and then pull back. This is kind of a good way to work. So you just find yourself saying, put your timeline marker where you want it, and then invent a keyframe by clicking on your stopwatch over here under opacity. So what I should see now is this thing, wibbly wobbly as it is, magically appears, wibbles for a little bit, and then disappears. Great. So I'm happy with my little animation. By the way, this blue bar right here, this is the shape layer across the entire 7 seconds of my video. What I can do is pull that back and say, that thing only exists for a second. So I'm just going to pull it back here and say, there. After that, it's not even here anymore. It plays, it disappears, and now it's good. The other nice thing I can do here, this is kind of a nice trick, is to say, well, let me grab this shape. I'm just going to close that back up again so I can see it. Grab that shape, Command or Control D, and I get another one. So I've duplicated that one. Grab my Move tool here, grab that and resize that. And then I think what I'll do is actually do that again. Whoop. Duplicate that one, and now I can resize that third one. And now I've got these 3 little marbles here, or these 3 little ellipses that are fading in and out of existence just on time. So then what I can do is, oh, look at that. Isn't that going to be cool? Woo. So then what I can do is grab these 3 and duplicate those, and then drag them this way. And then maybe we move them somewhere else in the screen. And then maybe there's all kinds of things you can do to it. I don't want to bore you to tears, but let's duplicate that, and we'll put those 3 over here, elsewhere in the screen. 1, 2, 3. Anyway, you get the idea. I hope you get the idea. I'm moving the only other one. So now what we should see is these guys are kind of fading in. It's almost like raindrops, plop, plop, plop. So we've got some kind of fun things happening in there. I hope that gives you some ideas on what you might be able to do with this. And I will catch up with you later with more nonsense videos. So long.